So with any new season of Marvel Rivals comes new opportunities. And those opportunities you may be asking, well, is a chance to rank up higher than you did the previous season. So today we are going to be talking about how exactly you can do that. Knowing all that I do now about this game, if I were to place gold this season and was forced to solo queue, there's no doubt in my mind I would be able to rank up past gold and even into platinum and beyond. So no matter the role you play, if you're hard stuck gold, these tips will help you climb smarter and not harder. Now, I can't believe I have to start off with this one, but this one's more of a mindset rather than a tip, and that is a reminder that this is a team game, not a solo game. You have to play with your team. There are 5 other players on your team, and you have to adapt to how they are playing and what they are playing. Now, most of the time in gold, most players just try to solo carry their team by insta-locking DPS, and let me tell you right here and now, that is not the way to climb out of gold. Look, every single game you're going to play in this game has a win condition. Now, most of the time, yes, it's going to be your DPS getting those kills and, messing up the enemy team. But it's not just about that. It's also your tank providing good frontline and your support staying alive. Everyone has a part to play. And if everyone else is doing their job, you still can't try to solo carry your team. Some games it's going to be relying on the tank to peel for their support when they're facing divers. Sometimes it's going to be the DPS making sure they can kill those other DPS because they're running the exact same comp. It's so many win conditions in this game. It just depends on the specific match that you are playing. And it's up to you and your team to identify that specific win condition for that game. All in all, in gold, you need to stop trying to be the win condition. You need to start supporting the one your comp already has. So like I said, it's up to you to identify what on your team is the win condition. Maybe it's the playstyle you guys play, or maybe it's specific characters on that team that will outshine the others. But all in all, you need to stop feeling like you are the only win condition on your team. This is a team game, not a deathmatch from Call of Duty. The next tip I'm going to be talking about is how comfortable are you with flexing to what your team needs? And what I mean by that is how comfortable are you picking the character that will solve your team's problems? Now understand, you're not going to be able to do this for every single game you play. That's just the nature of these type of games. If you try to do that, that just makes you average at every single character in the game. And I don't want that for you. But what I do want for you is to master about 2 to 3 characters per role. Look, you're not going to be able to play your most comfort character in every single game. There's always going to be something or someone on that team that is going to counter you and force you to swap to another pick. And I want you to be able to be comfortable to do that 90% of the time. Now with that being said, I'm going to give you guys 3 characters I think anyone can start off with in every single role. Starting with the tank role, I think Magneto is a very good solid pick. He has good damage, he has a good shield, and he is very, very good at solo tanking when the time comes to that. His ult is very complex, I'm not gonna lie, but as long as you keep mastering him and learning how to play with him, his ult becomes easier and easier. And he has so many utilities under his belt that can force the enemy team to swap. The next Vanguard I recommend you play in this game is Doctor Strange. He has a big old shield that can block a lot of damage, it resets pretty fast, and he has really good damage as a tank player itself. Now his ultimate is a little bit tricky to get used to, but as long as you can time your ults, then he's a really good solid pick to have. Now for my last choice, I think you should start with in tank, I think you should start with Penny Parker or even Emma Frost. Now their game styles are kind of the same thing. Your job is to counter the divers. Your job is to make sure no one gets in or out of where you're positioned at. So that is the main job with Emma and Penny. Penny is a little more direct with what that is, but Emma, you have to really know when and how to use her abilities to get the most out of her. Now for the duelists, I'm going to recommend you Namor, Squirrel Girl, and Punisher. Now for Namor, I don't really have to say much. If you've been playing since season even 2, you realize that Namor is just a nuisance. His turrets being the main reason why. All you have to do is place up his turrets and they will track the enemy team, whoever you place your primary attack on. And it is really good against divers and anyone that causes constant pressure against your support. Now, the biggest caveat here is you need to have decent mechanics. If you can't aim with Namor, this character is basically useless and provides no value for your team, even if all you do is place down your turrets. He serves no purpose and he serves no value. So if you have decent mechanics, this is definitely the player to pick up for you. Now, opposite to that, Squirrel Girl, on the other hand, is very counterintuitive. You don't have to have mechanics at all for this character, I'm not gonna lie. You don't have to have mechanics. You have some sort of game sense of where the enemy is, and you just aim in that direction. I promise you, you will get value off of Squirrel Girl. She's a very easy to learn character, and if you have some sort of game sense, she will cause a lot of problems for the enemy team. And what I mean by that is, if you can constantly chuck her Squirrel Girl primary attack towards the enemy team and cause them to continuously back up and back up and back up, this will give you and your team chances to leash off good ults and just team wipe their enemy team, because Squirrel Girl gets her ultimate very, very fast. So the more times you have it, the more times it will back them up and even potentially get kills off of it, because now it tracks them. So that is just a deadly player to have on your team. Someone who has decent mechanics and an ultimate that requires no skill whatsoever. Now lastly, for Punisher, I don't really have to say much about him. His kit is really, really simple to use. He has guns, that's literally it. He has a shotgun and an assault rifle. And he even has a turret to build up your ult really, really fast to get your ultimate and use that as efficiently as you can. So as long as you have decent mechanics with Punisher, Squirrel Girl, well not Squirrel Girl, and Namor, then you will be better off adapting to about any and everything in this game. Now, caveat, you are not going to be able to adapt to anything or everyone in this game with those 3 characters. That is just a good base to start off with, because I think if you can master those characters, it will definitely help you leech off to other characters like Bucky and maybe even Moon Knight and maybe even, Storm to a sense, that can actually get in and get those kills and require a bit more game sense and a bit more mechanics. Now lastly, 3 support characters I think you should automatically learn and know in this game is Cloak and Dagger, Rocket Raccoon, and Invisible Woman. Their kits are all very simple to use, and their ults really don't take much to have game sense to know how to use them. Use them when you're about to sense an ultimate is going to cause the trajectory in the direction of the game, or when your team is about to all die and you need an ult to save them. It's really not that hard. The way they heal their teammates is not really that hard too. It's kind of family friendly. So as long as you have decent mechanics and is literally aiming somewhat in their direction, you will not have a hard time with these characters. And these are all pretty good meta picks. I mean, as long as you can place Rocket's ultimate in a very good spot and timely use Sue's ultimate, you are in very good hands with these characters. Cloak and Dagger, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't really take much skill. Her ultimate is really, really good and it lasts for a very long time. The only caveat is you can die in your ult, so you need to know which characters can potentially do that. But 99% of the time, that's not going to happen. So as long as you can timely use your ults with these support characters, you will be in great hands. Now for my next tip, it's all about positioning. Now look, in this game, 70% of how you play this game is positioning and 30% is your actual mechanics of the character you're playing. To be honest, it's actually 80-20, but you get the point. Look, good aim doesn't matter if you die first. I don't care what role you play. You can aim all you want, but if you die first in the fight, it doesn't matter and you're providing no value to your team, which is a no. Look, you need to stop, like I said in the beginning of the video, treating every fight like it's a death match. This is not Call of Duty, but where you're standing is actually more important than, how cracked your aim is. Positioning matters. Look, I'm gonna get on every role here, starting with tank. Look, you guys need to hold space and don't overextend for no possible reason. That is not your job. You should not be overextending at all unless you're up in a team fight as far as numbers go. Look, support. Use your cover and break line of sight as much as possible. No matter if they're diving or playing poke, your goal is to survive. If you're playing so far back from your team that you just get constantly dove, your team can't fastly get back to you where they can peel for you. if they're even peeling at all. But I'm just saying, in the point that they do peel back for you, you need to be in a close enough position to where they can actually do that for you. And DPS, whether you're poking or not, it actually is kind of different. If you're poking, you need to find those off angles, and you need to know how to rotate from those off angles. Now for divers, you need to find good places on the map so that they won't know where you're engaging from. Because if they know where you're engaging from, they can prepare for that. And that is a no-no, and you won't provide any value if you're dead before you can even engage. Look, positioning helps you stay alive longer, do more healing or damage depending on the role you are, and this actually helps you avoid getting flanked or getting a surprise pick off from your team because you guys are all clumped up together. If you guys are all clumped up together, then there's a better chance of your support or anyone who's getting hard countered actually taken care of because you guys are all together. Look, mechanics help you win the fights, but positioning ultimately stops you from losing them. So positioning matters more than your mechanics in this game. Now, this tip will be very, very, very important to your long-term benefit of this game. Look, you need to learn how to read the flow of the match. Look, every game is going to be different, I know that, but the flow always stays the same. You win team fights, you get farther in the game. You win team fights, you push the payload. You win team fights, you get more percentages on domination. It's kind of how it goes. You need to know what the cycle is of team fights and before they even start. Most of the time, it's going to be a DPS on either side starting an initiation and the tank and the support players following up with them. It just depends on the situation of the said game. But if you personally learn to start reading the rhythm of a match, you'll start to make, more proactive and smart decisions. So with that being said, here's exactly how to read the flow of the match. Look, if you guys just want a team fight, or maybe you guys are just up maybe in numbers and as far as the team fight, you guys need to get a little more aggressive. Now this does depend on, what abilities have been used, but overall, you guys need to start pushing to make them back up and to cause more pressure and even resulting in possibly a team wipe. Same goes for your team. If you guys just got picked off, maybe one or two people on your team by the enemy team, then you guys need to fully reset. No time for being, the superhero. You guys need to reset and not stagger. That's the most important thing in this game, is staggering, because no matter what mode you play in this game, staggering will be your downfall and will instantly result in an L. I promise you that. So if I started from gold this season, these are the exact tips I would use to help me climb out of rank. Like I said, ranking up is not just about mechanics, it's all about your position, your mindset, and the consistency in how you play the game as a player. Start playing the game with a purpose, and I promise you, you will climb out of gold and not become hard stuck like all these other players. You are different. You will climb out. I promise you. If you just listen to these tips, replay the video, and really get the in-depth version and explanation behind these, you will climb up. I can promise you that. Now, if this video did help you today, go ahead and drop a like, comment, and go ahead and subscribe for me for more videos like this. If you guys would let me know what role you play and, what's your biggest struggle in gold or just in the game in general, I'd love to get that answer for you and potentially make a future video about that. I'm also open to doing VOD reviews, reviewing your gameplay and things like that, and helping you become a better player one-on-one. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.